Malcolm Bennett is the aesthete in Art Rage.
When I was a kid, I wanted to be an artist. I mean, why not? I was pretty useless at everything else. You know, I'd read all those books about Europe and their art movements and all these great cafes where the artists would hang out. But in Britain, there's no real cafes or pubs like that. If you're young and you're an artist and you want to go somewhere where you can meet other artists and exchange ideas, there's only really one place you can go: art school.
If you have a fine art course, it's very important to have these places so that people can actually spend time doing what might seem to everybody else in the whole world something completely and utterly disgraceful, ridiculous, and boring and stupid and time-wasting and everything else. But I think it's absolutely crucial that we have more time to relax and to investigate things.
From the very first cave drawings to today, art has been a visual record of an invisible history. It's man's interpretation of his times, and in that sense, its importance is immeasurable, and therefore, an art education is probably the best education in the world.
I mean, I think the important thing is it gives you a sort of a broad base, and you have a basic understanding of aesthetics, which, you know, I think people have to be taught. You have a freedom in the way you see things and think about things that I think most people who don't have an art education don't have. Or if they have, it's rare and it's a real gift. But I think you've got to be taught to see in the same way as you've got to be taught to read and a lot of other things.
It was the experience of being taught how to get down to the business of looking at life, at real things, and expressing them, that I learnt, or that the doors were opened, anyhow, for me there, in the pre-diploma art school context at Camberwell, and by no means were they opened in the drama school or theatre design school, or for that matter, film school context.
Today, as I speak, art schools are being made cost-effective. They want to harness their output to commercial ends. But let's face it, art's not about money. Money's just one of those things that take the fun out of shoplifting. Art is about culture, and culture is what separates man from the animal.
When I went to art school, if you were really good, if you were really, really excellent, you were the best student in the art school. In the general course, you were allowed, if you were lucky, to go into the fine art department. You had to be the best, or what they considered the best. If you weren't quite the best, you got to do graphic design, or what was called commercial art in those days.
But basically, I think that the rector is running this institution like a baked bean factory. He doesn't actually realise that there's much more profit. I'm not talking about financial profit. There's much more profit in a well-educated art student than an art student who's been taught how to use an airbrush and how to sort of throw off a few pots to sell.
Everything is designed, everything is drawn, everything you're wearing, everything you see around you has been designed by somebody using a computer or a pencil, piece of chalk, whatever. And it is necessary to nourish the people who are going to do the designing, to have people in a kind of think tank situation investigating new methods of designing things, investigating new meanings, new materials, new ways of viewing the world. And these people who are the fine artists tend to influence the people who are then going to take up and apply some of these things which have been, the discoveries which are made, and apply them in, if you like, the commercial world.
We're not going through a particularly healthy period in the fashion business at the moment. And I think one of the reasons on that is the emphasis has been placed on being commercial. And the British, actually, in real terms, have never been that good at being commercial, except at sort of shop level. And what we're good at, and I think, is ideas. And if you stifle them, as has happened, I think, to a certain extent in fashion, the Americans and people are no longer interested in buying from this country the way they were, except for a few sort of star designers. They're not interested because they've assimilated the thoughts, the ideas, and they have the technology, the money, and the time to develop them.
For this government, art has become something merely to decorate our homes with. It's become something to print on a Marks and Spencer's frock. It's become a tool for industry. What they're saying is that it has to be commercially viable to be justified. Can you believe it? Square pegs are being made to fit into round holes. Individual character is being assassinated.
Well, many of the fine art students that I've been involved with are practicing artists. Many go into film, many go into the media, television, theatre, dance, fashion, and other applied areas.
I mean, pop music is a good example. I mean, say, what's the good of an arts training? But you know, the emphasis at the moment is on money, again, you know, sort of getting as much out of the resources that we have as possible. The thing is what they're doing, they're running it down and destroying these things, which I think come cheap anyway, really.
Well, I think if we had a thing called an art strike in the country, where I didn't work for a month, you didn't work for a month, Nick Fry, who was a sculptor who became an environmental design student, who's now working with the media, with film, and so on. If he went on strike, and everybody surrounding us went on strike for a month, the theatre, the TV, the ballet, the people designing shirts, people designing the buttons for the shirts, all stopped for a month, I think the country would come to an incredible kind of...
I'm telling you, what they're doing to art education in this country is a threat to our way of life. Our entire civilization, strong words, but our culture is at stake. This whole overwhelming greed for money, it's frightening. And just imagine what an art school education is going to be like in the future if the people of this country don't get off their arses and fight.
That's it.
Hey, what's up with you?
I've had enough, mate. I'm not a number, I'm an artist.
Where are you going?
The future!
What on earth do you think you're doing, boy?
Designing a new £20 note, sir.
For Christ's sake, lad, you're here for the benefits of industry. If you don't buck up your ideas and come up with something we can sell, you're going to find yourself back on the dole.
But I'm an artist. It's the only way I know how to make money.
I think that there's a lot of problems being caused for art schools and for fine art and for art in this country by the media itself. And what makes me very nervous is what context and how this program will go out and what people will make of it and make of me and make of what you said to me and make of what you said to me in relation to things. All I hope is that that the program will put forward a notion that the people who go to art school in the main are morally very, very sound and also extremely hard-working and a very, very peculiar bunch of people who have a kind of care for this planet Earth that we're on.